Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Fan Faction. I'm joined by Ben Hardy and Dylan Lennon, my co-hosts, and today we're going to be talking about the movie Parasite from 2019. So before we start, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't watched Parasite yet, please subscribe and come back when you have and leave us a comment and let us know what you thought. So, brief synopsis: greed and class discrimination threaten the newly formed symbiotic relationship between the wealthy Park family and the destitute Kim clan. So, Ben, this was your picks. So, why don't you kick us off? What did you think of Parasite?
Going into it, yeah, I didn't really have any idea what to expect. I just knew that did it win the Oscar for Best Movie in
Mm.
2020?
Yeah, it won a few. It's 2019, so it won
Yeah.
Best Movie, it won Best Director, and I think it won Best Editing as well, if I'm not mistaken.
And I have a love-hate relationship with the Oscars. I'm like, it's like some movies that win, you're like, it's not great, it's fine, it's a bit art house for my taste. So I sort
Mhm.
of put it on the back burner for a while. Then I saw it on Netflix and I was struggling to come up with a choice for this month for my movie. And I said, sure, I'll give this a watch. And about 20 minutes in, I just texted the lads going, this is my choice. Because I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic from beginning to end. Just the motifs, the metaphors, the themes throughout, the class struggle of the poor Kim family and the rich Park family, and the differences that your life could be depending on where you're born, and the struggle to get out of poverty, to make it to that upper class, and how impossible it is. I just thought it was very well executed, very well paced, and very funny in parts as well. I just really
Yeah.
enjoyed the
Mm.
humor of there. We'll get into it in more detail in a bit of the Kim family getting stuck in the Park's house and having to try and get out after a night of party. It's absolutely hilarious. Even the other poor family they come across living in the basement of the Park's house
Mhm.
is the other owl lad they find down there is just hilarious in itself, trying to communicate with the father of the household through the light
Morse
switch.
code. Yeah,
I just
it's
thought it was
brilliant.
absolutely brilliant. And I didn't really realize it's the same director as Snowpiercer, was it? From
Yeah, and also that movie, I know you'd watched it, Ben, because I think you actually said that it made you turn vegetarian. Was is it Okja or
Yeah,
Okja?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he directed that as well.
Absolutely brilliant movies. Akshay was just me and my other half are watching it, and there's this scene where it's like at a slaughterhouse, and one of the animals is trying to rescue its child animal from being slaughtered. And I'm going, Jesus, I'm going to have a burger tomorrow, whatever. Turn to the right, and Laura's just in tears. It's like, but no, it's an excellent movie as well. So, yeah, he's got a good run of movies now. So, very, very impressed. So what did you guys think?
Yeah, sorry, you
I
go ahead, though.
thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Um, from the very, very comedic, down and out, kind of almost like shameless
Mhm.
family. They're sitting there and they're all like just talking about their multiple list of failures, and there's like cockroaches everywhere, and it's just absolute mank. Um, to just the premise of it, in general, where he's like he actually, while they're kind of bums, for lack of a better word, they're also just very unlucky people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, like horrendously unlucky. But clearly they're super intelligent, and that the fact they were able to pull this off for so long, like it's kind of yeah, I found it very interesting the way it switches from this like very dark comedy at the start, and then you're kind of not sure if you are really meant to like them, because the plan gets enacted very quickly,
Mhm.
and it's quite devious. And so you're like, I, you're switching this, you're kind of chopping back and forth of whether you like them or you don't like them as protagonists or not. And then yeah, from that point on, where like it just goes bonkers, but like in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Um, like it's everything, all that I actually, this is one of the very few times I can genuinely say I knew nothing about the film.
Hmm.
I thought it was a horror movie because we've been on this kind of streak of kind of intense horror movie watching and things like that. And like that, I was sitting there, I was just like, this is just so good. Um, you know, when it culminates into the point of like the when they're having the party and they're kind of celebrating their success, and you can feel it start, you can actually see where the kind of the point goes where things fall off a cliff,
Mhm.
and you're kind of watching it hang on the edge, and then it just goes there, and you're like, there's someone who's been living in the fucking basement the whole time. And you're like, this is just crazy.
It's a
Um,
strange twist, isn't it? Like
yeah.
that other family living in the basement, because I felt like the movie would have still been amazing even if you hadn't put that in. Do you know, like you could have just had it where it's just the Kim family
Mm.
and the sorry, it was the Kim family and the Park family, and that's it. Even if you didn't have that basement part of it, it would still have worked as a movie.
Quite
Do you
well,
know?
yeah. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it was very much I think the directors, it was very much like this is what society is like. The rich are so oblivious to the struggles of the underclass and the poor that even if
mm,
there's fucking someone living in your basement, you don't even notice or care.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just I don't give a shit. It's just the struggles of that level of poverty, they're so far removed from it that it doesn't matter. And if you go back to the start of the movie, your man, is it Ki Woo is the son's name, I think.
Mm.
He
Yeah.
gets the viewing stone from his friend who's like rich as a gift. So he hands him the stone. It's like, oh, this stone will bring your family wealth or whatever. And the son's obsessed with like, yeah, we're gonna get out of poverty. We're gonna do this. And that stone just comes back into the movie a few times where like there's a guy pissing outside and he's looking out. He's like, for fuck's sake, and he looks at the stone going, someday I'll get out of here. And
I'm sorry, but that scene alone where it goes to slow-mo and they're having basically a water fight
So
with your man
funny.
is it's just
So funny.
and this the stone comes in again near the end where he brings it into the Park family's house in order to murder the people in the basement because if they get out from being tied up, they will the jig is up for the Kim family. And it all culminates with Kiwoo going down to the basement with the stone, slipping, letting the stone slip down the steps, and the other lad who's in the basement comes up and kills him with the stone. It's fucking brilliant. It's like the poverty struggle to get out of that level of poverty could potentially ruin your life and even kill you. So you're better off just kind of backing off and leaving it alone, you know? I was reading
Mhm.
an article on that today and I just thought that's just the level of metaphor and detail in the movie, as well
mm.
as being entertaining as well. Another one was the smell, I think, where like,
Oh, the old
the
radish
Kim
smell.
family had like the
Yeah.
old radish smell as well. And the very end where the whole shit show happens and they're bringing the people to the hospital and the dad leans down to pick up I can't remember whoever was stabbed and he just goes like this. Is a key tech the dad just snaps and goes I'm never going to get out of this poverty and just fucking loses it. It's fucking brilliant, you know, so well done. Oh
It's such a strange the it's like you said, Dylan, you don't really know, like you go from feeling sorry for them to thinking these people are terrible, but it's a weird situation because I didn't get the feeling that they had done this to other families before. Like it very much
Mm.
it nearly just comes together off the cuff. So you get that context of saying where they're really unlucky, where it's like, oh, I think it's when they're getting drunk and they talk about the failed cake business, and it just feels like they have
Oh yeah,
rotten
yeah,
luck.
mm,
But this very much it didn't feel vindictive at the start. It felt like, okay, we're going to take advantage of a situation here. I'm going to get a job because I have a friend, a buddy who's going away. I'm going to take over the tutoring. And then, it kind of just snowballs from there. And they end up obviously taking all the jobs. But it, like, it's strange because I kind of felt sorry for them up until the point where they got the caretaker fired. Like I thought that was a really sad scene, where she just like you see her outside in the rain and she's just walking away with all
yeah.
her stuff and she just seems so stunned. I think that's where I kind of like it flipped for me a little bit. Um, Even though the lead up to that firing was hilarious with the tuberculosis stuff,
mm.
like that was so funny. And just the level of genius behind it, like Dylan said, like they're obviously not stupid people. It's just circumstances in their case have held them down. They're obviously very, very bright.
Even in saying that, it wasn't really them that got her fired. It's your one who owns the house just fired her, even though she's been there for fucking 25 years. It's kind of that,
mm,
like,
But
when in
isn't
poverty, you're
it?
so subject to the
Yeah.
rich whims of just fucking, I don't want you anymore, you're out of here, you know?
yeah.
But
Well, it's
it's
her as
like that
well.
that they
Having
say it. They say it at the start of the movie though that like basically she's so rich she's simple.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was the funny thing as well because it just she didn't seem like I was taking it that oh she's a bit dim, but she didn't really come across like that to me for most of the movie. Um, like it's funny because the husband says like she doesn't really she doesn't work, and then the husband says as well that she's not good at like cleaning the house or cooking or anything. So she's like, well, what is she good at, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I thought she was a pretty funny character. Like anytime it leans into like they obviously manipulated her a lot using the sun. Like that was so funny when
Mhm.
they're telling her that like the whole art therapy thing,
Yeah.
and that like the schizophrenic stuff at the bottom of the page, the drawings.
Oh,
Actually, that
stop.
was hands down the funniest bit was where she's showing Kiwoo the painting that he did, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, is it a chimpanzee?" And she's like, "It's a self portrait." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." I thought that was hilarious.
The expression of the young artist.
Oh
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. It's it was just a lot of hilarity in it as well. The bit where they're partying down and the family comes back and they're just hiding under the table and then the parents come in. The kids outside in the tent,
yeah.
they're just staying there until they fall asleep. It's fucking hilarious.
I
Oh,
love the exterminator bit. Do you know where he's like, leave the windows open, we'll get rid of the
Oh yeah.
roaches. And they're just sitting there with all the gas coming
Yeah,
in.
like fucking choking. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
But I think that was the to call back to that pivotal moment, right, where they're all under the table. Because I was watching, it, I was just like, oh, the actual this is made. It's one of the from the TB discovery of the hot sauce on the tissue is when for me it shifted to
Mm.
like, okay, now this has become like a bit more of a devious drama now where you're like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
This is the final straw. I actually thought they would end up like killing them or something. I thought that was the way that was going to go down. But you can see in the under the table
Yeah.
scene where they the the rich people start to have sex on the couch and they're all like, the wife is just like, oh, buy me drugs. So it's like, so their
Yeah.
like sexual fantasy is being poor and destitute, and you can see the father is there under the table listening to that and this whole time. You can see that's the point where he realizes that like this isn't what he wants,
yeah.
and where his
Yeah.
whole character shifts. But then you're like, when he's trying to drag himself across the floor
It's
to
so
get
funny
out.
when the dad mentions that Key Tech smells when he's in the car and he's so
Ah,
near the table smelling his shirt. He's like, so fucking funny. And then the wife notices it in the next day when she's driving around and she just opens the window and he's just sitting there fuming in the front. Like, don't smell, for God's sake.
but
But
either
yeah,
that would have
Oh,
to run home for the sewer water, and the daughter, she just actually finds like the shit covered fags in the ceiling, and she's just still there
yeah.
smoking away, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ.
It
apparently
was quite sad as well that scene where they kind of I feel like Kiwoo and the dad they realized how much even though they lived this destitute life they actually realized once everything's flooding it seemed to me anyway like how much they actually cared about the place.
Hmm.
You
Mm.
know, even though they might have been like trying desperately to escape that life, like it just meant so much to them.
Yeah.
And especially Kiwoo, like it was a bit sad towards the end, with him. Um,
Yeah, well, he got
although
it.
like Ben said, you're going to murder somebody, so it's how much sympathy can you really have for the person? Um,
Like he didn't really feel too sorry for the housemaid in the end either, because she was kind of scheming and living in the basement as well. So it was all kind of
yeah,
it all felt kind of like was there really any good people in the film at all? I think everybody was kind of an asshole
yeah, yeah, kind
in their
of.
own way, you know?
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I
Well,
hard
that
to
doubt
was it.
really root for somebody.
Yeah.
When she did the North Korean newscaster impression, I think for me that was like, okay. So really, to answer that question, I don't think I think everyone's in the gray,
Mhm.
because you have people who are stuck in this scenario, where they smell like radishes from overwashed clothes, and there's a guy who every night pisses in their fucking window, and they have idealistic dreams of bettering themselves, and then you have the people who are up there, and like, you know, they couldn't particularly tell their arse from their elbow. Like, they've got people living in a part of the basement they never knew about,
Mm.
because the guy who built the building was ashamed to admit he built a bunker in case bombs were dropped. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think everyone was in the grey, really.
Yeah.
Everyone is equal parts shit and good. Um, but you can see that the basement husband, like how mental he'd become, like the
Yeah.
Morse code to thank the father in the house every day, and the wife was just sitting there eating ramen, going, God, that monitor's really on the blink.
Yeah.
And like
Yes,
this,
it's like,
this is just
Yeah.
fucking bonkers. They think their lights turn on automatically.
and they don't know. Yeah. It was
So good.
it's it was a very unique film now. Like, I've never seen anything really like it. And then learning he directed Okja and Snowpiercer, I can sort of see especially in Snowpiercer, where it's a theme of the rich class at the front of the train and the poor.
Social class. Yeah.
Yeah, and the poor is trying to get to the front, He seems to be very socially conscious in a way, doesn't he?
Mhm.
Um,
I'd be interested to see what he does next. Like, I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm just looking here to see if he's
But that was
done
indicative
anything since this movie.
of another
Um,
South Korean film we watched,
trying to do
Train to
something.
Busan,
Train to Busan.
Yeah.
Yep.
the social structure. What did you think of the ending,
Where
I
he's
kind of
out.
liked it.
where you have like the near 15-minute sequence of like the build up to this thing of where he's bought the house, and the father eventually comes out, and I was like, do you know what? I really enjoyed that. As to me, I obviously not knowing what was coming, I was like, that's a great ending. Things
Yeah.
comes full circle. They eventually got to where they wanted to be, and then it just cuts in. It's like, no, it's all in his head. He's like, I'll
We're
get there
never going to
eventually.
get there.
You're like,
It's
oh my!
it's it's still quite
Literally, I sat there and I went, he's fucked.
He is fucked. Yeah.
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 It's
I
it's
love.
still quite cathartic though.
Mm.
In a way, do you know, like there was that whole dialogue that he had with his dad. I think it was just after the apartment got flooded, and he was talking about like the importance of like not having a plan. Do you
Yeah,
know? But like realistically, the whole movie is about like they obviously wanted to be rich, but they never really had a plan about how they were going to get there. Um, it's a strange. I'm not sure. Like I don't know. Like, are you meant to realistically believe that after all the stuff that he's done, he's going to have that kind of happy ending for him and his mom? I don't know.
I
Probably
think it's
not.
just. Do you know what? I think had that been, how do I put this? Like, say for example, if this was a British movie,
Hmm.
they would have killed the family, um, and they would have had that similar ending where they kind of got away with it for a long time. Um, Whereas this, because we see such rock bottom, and we see that the father in particular change. You can see the moment that really changes when they're stuck under the table. They're listening to two people whose whole foreplay is like, one's a drug dealer, one's a prostitute or whatever. And it's just, yeah, and then it gives you the little glimpse of the happy ending that they eventually struggle to get, and then it takes it away to show you the very harsh reality of that particular social structure there.
Mhm.
Which I don't think any other, very genuinely, I don't think a Western movie would be clever enough to give us the double ending in that way.
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of deep sort of meaning in movies. Probably a lot of movies try to do it, but they're a bit overly heavy-handed with it, and it's to the detriment of the entertaining aspect of the movie. But this was just flawless. It's equally parts entertaining, and there's layers upon layers of, like, there's been whole like theses written on the layers of meaning behind different aspects of the movie. That you probably delve
Mm.
hours into reading, but I wouldn't have the time, but I'd definitely be rewatching it again. I'd say it's even more different on second viewing. There's probably little other
Mm.
nuances you pick up on. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
the
I like
dialogue was
the ending
excellent.
now. Like I had feeling that I was kind of hoping that that wasn't the ending when that whole dream sequence was happening, where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to buy the house, and I get you out of the basement." It's like this definitely not going to happen. And lo and behold, it's just like, oh fuck, this isn't going to happen. Fuck, like, I love the way he's just
So
sitting on the hill, just watching the dad do
Mm.
the Morse code.
ultimately, then did you feel sorry for the Kim family at the end, or kind of do you just think well, you've kind of dug your own hole, essentially?
How could you not? I felt sorry for them,
Mm.
especially when the dad's playing Native American at the kids' party at the end. I was like, this is just, it's
Yeah,
key back, isn't it? He's just like, and then the other dad's like, come on, you're getting paid. Come on, just do it. And he's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, my soul is destroyed here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can feel sorry for them because they never really actually did anything horrible to the actual family themselves. Like once they were in the positions that they schemed into, they never did anything that, was malicious or anything like that to the family. It only goes tits up because of the basement family. That's it really. So I
Yeah.
think you can feel sorry for them, to a certain extent. And they weren't just like great. It's like Dylan said, they're great characters. They're not all bad. They're not all good. Um,
But they're very real, very gritty. I think his next movie is some sci-fi with Robert Pattinson in it. So it'll be interesting to see that. It's out next year.
yeah, I'm just looking here. They have uh Mickey 17. Is that it?
Yeah, Robert Pattinson, Stephen Ewan,
Yep.
as
Mark
Walking Dead
Ruffalo,
fame,
Tony Collette. Good cast.
Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, it's
Well,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
I'm not crazy about Mark Ruffalo, but yeah, the others are good.
I was never crazy about Mark Ruffalo either, and I don't know why.
Mm.
Has he been in anything decent?
He's entertaining.
He was in Poor Things was the last thing I saw him in, and I thought he was the weakest part of the movie. But
I
I
didn't
don't
get
know.
that far. See, poor
Could just
thing
be me.
for me is what's wrong with the Oscars. It's just I couldn't get into it. I thought it was a
Mm.
bit too smell of my own farts kind of Oscar material.
I loved the first hour, and then it kind of fell off a cliff.
Really, yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah. It depends. Like I just thought like there was a lot of funny bits in the first hour. It was an interesting take on the whole Frankenstein story. Um, but yeah, no, Mark Ruffalo doing a British accent. Mm, but yeah, no, not for me.
Have you seen
But
the Favorite, the other one by that director with Emma Stone?
haven't seen it.
Equally as weird and equally as like lauded by critics, and I was like, this is just kind of shit and boring.
Pretentious.
Yeah, I don't know. It was odd.
Mm.
It was very strange.
I haven't seen either of those movies. I saw some interesting comparisons between the original Metropolis and Poor Things.
I've never seen Metropolis, so
I
There's
have.
like
I've
shot
seen
for shot.
the side by side shots
Mm.
of comparisons, yeah, between the two. I say it was an influence in terms of thematically. I'd say it's a completely different movie.
yeah.
Maybe.
But
It's
even
not. What
in
I saw
terms of
Poor Things, it was nuts. It was just
yeah,
first 10 minutes is like crazy shit.
in
I
terms
was
of what
going
you're
to
saying
ask
though,
you.
like art for art's sake, that's how I feel that There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people feel that way about that deal. You're not alone there.
I like that movie, dude. Like that movie. Paul
Not
Dano.
their own.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Paul Dano's
Even I
phenomenal.
like him, but that movie, the same with that and The Revenant.
The Revenant, I don't get now. It was
Extended holiday snaps. That's all the was.
it was not a movie.
What?
It was overly long, meandering, and just kind of a bit boring as well. It was just like,
Not like this movie. This movie was 2 hours and it didn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think
Have you
studios are
watched?
starting to catch on. They're starting to reduce the length of movies now. Hopefully, well, maybe not though. But
depends the content, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. So some movies like yeah, I didn't that didn't feel like 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it didn't feel like anything really could have been pruned from that movie. I
Mm,
think what was there was needed, and
yeah.
Mm.
you know, yeah, it was really good. I'd be interested to see like because I wouldn't watch a lot of foreign movies. Where would that be for you guys, foreign movie wise? Would that be up the very top?
Yeah, that would be kind of replace some foreign movies that I've seen. In particular, like you can get one like Solaris, the original Solaris, which is
Mhm.
really good. Um, I think there's a couple of black and white ones that no, not because of content, but just overall cinema.
Mm.
There's one I really like that is a very, very weird film. It can be pretty difficult to watch. It's called Taxiderma. Um, very strange film.
What country? Um,
I think it's a Russian movie, if I remember correctly.
okay.
Um, and I usually, oddly enough, like this level of social talk you can see in a lot of French cinema as well, which is usually pretty good. But in particular, Jacques Tati, he's for lack of a better term, he's a silent slapstick movie star. He's kind of like the French version of Mr. Magoo.
Okay.
Um, but his movies kind of had there's always this undercurrent of that social level thing going on.
Mhm.
There's also a lot of
And what
trash
about?
foreign cinema. Like me and Laura watched something, Love and the Deep. It's about this cruise where this cruise butler falls in love with this chick on a boat. Pure shite. Absolutely god awful. You know, and I think it's Japanese or Korean. I was just but I think it's because it was Japanese and Korean, I was kind of like, maybe culturally this makes sense, but no, it was just terrible. You know?
Just bad.
There's a lot of bad Japanese cinema.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no doubt.
Um, considering we watch so much Japanese content like anime and anime inspired things and things like that, there's a lot of crap. Whereas all that I haven't seen a movie from South Korea that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, I've seen about
Put it that way.
seven,
Same.
I'd say, seven or
Yeah.
eight South Korean movies, and all of them are pretty good. But
This
again,
guy
like,
actually, the guy who did the guy who did Parasite did that one, The Host. That's meant to be really good from back in like 2006, 2007. It's like a monster movie.
Yes,
yeah.
I've seen
Yeah,
that.
he did
That's
that
actually
as
very
well.
good, and it's actually incredibly funny as well.
Kind of, yeah.
Um, but yeah,
He obviously has a style.
Oh, the dad's in it from Parasite.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot younger.
Well, I knew it straight off the bat. I was like, oh, I know who that is. The son, who plays Ki Woo, he was in Train to Busan.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the kid with the baseball bat.
Oh, well done, Shane. Keen
fair
eye.
play.
Keen eye.
Yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
I knew him straight away, and I was like, that's your man.
Which
I knew it was
which
one of
you
them.
can see on the previous episode on the channel when you subscribe.
Good pull.
I noticed the park dad was in something I've seen as well. I can't think.
Yeah,
I put my finger on it, you know.
I thought he looked familiar as well. Yeah, and the mum, actually,
The rich mum
the
looked
mum of
really
the Park
familiar.
family, the mum
Yeah.
of the Park family, I thought looked very familiar, and I don't know if I've seen her in something before as well. I wonder was she the wife of the guy in Train to Busan? I could be wrong. Do you remember the pregnant wife? I was like, maybe it's her. I could be
No, I
wrong,
don't. I find out now.
No, she wasn't in
but
Train to Busan.
no. She looked very familiar though. I thought I'd seen her in something as well. It could be one of the older Korean movies. Um, like I don't know if she would have been an old boy. No, that's really old.
That's gone back, what, 20 years now? Must be this.
And they're redoing
Yeah.
it again.
With who
Like
this
and
time?
another American version.
That I'm not too sure. I recently got a notification that it's being redone.
Oh, just leave it
Um,
alone.
but I think it might be the original director.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Oh, that would be okay then, I guess. But I don't know. The original's so good. Just it's definitely one of those cases of just leave it alone.
I must say, it's a place I really want to go now after seeing this movie.
Yeah,
South Korea.
Mm.
It looks really, really nice,
it's actually it looks beautiful. Like the a lot of the movie, like the areas that they shot in.
It's meant to be
Looks like
freezing in
pretty nice.
winter, like it goes down to -11 and shit like that. So I think you have to go.
Ooh, don't go in winter, so
Yeah, it's very odd because it's only like 2 hours from Japan or something, and Japan's weather is far more temperate. It doesn't get that cold, I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's like the road down from Dublin to Wexford.
Treacherous, you know, Snowpiercer
Ye-
level.
Yeah.
What would you guys do then for scores? I'm assuming I know where this is going anyway, but I'm assuming it's
5
5 across the board.
has to be.
Yeah, yeah.
That is actually hands down a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I'm willing to say that.
Yeah, and Ben,
I
you're right about the whole Oscars thing as well. It's like, you're always a bit wary going in watching an Oscar winner, but like this was thoroughly deserved of
I
winning
don't
that.
know where I got the idea that it was a horror. You said that as well, then. I heard that this was
yeah, I
a
thought it was a. But if you look at the posters for it, there's something really ominous about the posters.
yeah.
It's like the black bars across the eyes, and I think
Yeah.
there's like a body on the ground just like splayed.
Yeah.
So, you know, just perfect movie, perfect example of cinema. Um, well done storytelling, very well paced. It's 2 hours, does not feel like 2 hours.
Mm.
I don't even feel that there was any real fluffer in
No.
this. To be honest with you, I think everything that's in the movie needs to be in the movie. Um, and even if any, do you know what? If anything, I will say so. All the scenes in the car
Mhm.
where the two dads are talking and things like that can feel a little bit like it verges on. Oof, we don't need to be here this long. But then throughout the movie, it always gets referenced back somewhere.
Yeah.
The
And so
dad,
you're
like,
like,
he's pushing it a bit too much.
yeah, he always
Yeah.
goes to the line, but never crosses
Never
the
over the
line.
line.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck is this line? But it's always referenced then, so it it reinstates its importance.
Mhm.
But yeah, hands down, perfect film. I
It
stand
says
by
a
you.
lot, I think. It says a lot, I think, that the two 5 stars. Well, we've all given 5 stars to two movies, and it's Train to Busan and
Mm.
Parasite. So I think definitely we need to do more foreign movies. I think
I'm
that
gonna
are
see
critically acclaimed.
see what other
We can,
Korean movies I can find.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do the original Solaris, which is 7 hours long,
Oh Jesus.
in Russian.
In fairness, there are some ones that I do want to see. I know. Have you guys ever heard of Stalker?
Yes,
Yeah, that's meant to be excellent.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. Yeah, there's a lot of foreign movies. Probably not so many Korean ones because we've kind of done a lot of them now that are, ones that are, I suppose, must watch. Um, but there's so many out there, man.
Matters lots.
I definitely have to maybe one of my next picks. I think I'll have a look and see what foreign movies have kind of been on my list for a while, but I haven't got around to watching. Have you guys seen City of God before?
I saw it in 2007. It was
Yeah,
good.
like I
Yeah,
saw when it came out.
Yeah. I
yeah.
haven't seen it
That's what I
since.
was thinking. I was like, oh, maybe I'll rewatch that because I haven't seen it in years. But I definitely have a think about it. I think I won't pick horror next month. I think all my picks have been horror so far.
Same. I was thinking of changing things up actually. I have since we have the time, might as well announce here. So there's two on my list.
Mhm.
Uh, one is a Brad Pitt and Juliet Lewis vehicle called California, but with a K,
Okay.
Okay, haven't
which
seen that.
I remember seeing posters for before, but I've never seen the movie. And the other one is called New Jack City, which came out in
Ooh.
1991.
That's Wesley
Um,
Snipes, isn't it?
yeah, but I actually was only thinking about it today because I saw a scene in it today where it was a bit like this looked like a
Yeah,
pretty good movie.
yeah.
And I've
30
never heard of
seconds.
it,
30
but
seconds. Sorry. We're gonna get cut
You
off.
say 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Oh crap! Right. So, Dil, we know. We've got your two ideas there. So
yeah,
we'll think about it during the week, and we'll we'll shoot each other a message and see what we come up with. But yeah, so that's the end of the video anyway. Thanks for joining us, whoever's watching, and yeah, hit like and subscribe, and guys,